23-13 Notre Dame wins.
Yes. On the road.
On the road in Kyle Field. It was a big win for Notre Dame. At halftime, I tweeted Mama H, texted Mama H, forgive me, and I said, if Notre Dame can find a way to establish a running game in spite of this offensive line, maybe this team is better than I thought.
Okay.
What happened next surprised even me.
Did they start the freshman left tackle?
They did. Anthony Knapp was the starting left tackle.
Okay.
There were 6 total returning starts along that offensive line. So it was a very, very green unit. They took a ton of penalties. If you watch any of the first half, they were getting blown off the ball. There were missed blocks. There was miscommunication. But when I say what happens next surprised me, the offensive line weirdly grew into the game, which is not.
How are you doing, by the way? Watching like the 3-all, 6-all moments in this game.
Oh, I was in a cold sweat the whole game.
Okay.
People were tweeting at me, "Hey, you should tweet more. We'd like to know what you think about this." And I was like, "Nah, I can't even focus enough. My hands are sweating. I'm not going to be able to type anything." It was not good.
That's just because you couldn't keep your eyes off of Marcus Freeman's pants.
They're very snug.
Game was tight. Those pants were snug.
Very snug. Needs a shoehorn to get those on. Yeah, I thought the line got better as the game wore on, and as opposed to wearing down, because opposite them was a very, very good Texas A&M defensive line. Don't kid ourselves. They're good. They got better. And so I don't know if that was a scheme thing. I don't know if it was just a youth thing. I think what we'll find by the end of the year is this offensive line is going to be in a completely different spot, because if they showed this kind of improvement from the start of the game to the end of the game in week 1, what does that mean in week 14? Right. I felt really encouraged by that. They grew into the game. They leaned on Riley Leonard as kind of their primary rusher until they were able to open up some holes for Jadarian Price, Jeremiah Love, both of whom had nice touchdown runs that basically gave Notre Dame the separation they needed in the game. So combined with that chess match, what they did on defense really is what set the tone. You know, Marcus Freeman had the latitude to make some risky calls on 4th down and otherwise, because he knew that the defense was something of a brick wall in this game, especially in the secondary. The line was able to generate some pressure against Conner Weigman and force some bad decisions, 2 picks for Conner Weigman in this game. So I thought this was the kind of game as a Notre Dame fan that we had been waiting to see from a Marcus Freeman coached team. And that is a big game that everybody knows about on the road going into it. They were a slight underdog. So I think to some extent there was an expectation that A&M would find a way to pull it out. A&M's a good team. They're going to be a really good team by the end of the year. But the fact that Notre Dame was able to make these in-game adjustments and get over the finish line and finish strong in the manner that they did, that is the most encouraging thing, especially looking at the schedule now on the Notre Dame side, which is very favorable. And I've talked about it ad nauseum. There is one true road game between this game and the last game, and that, I think, is at Purdue a little bit later on this month.
Big drum.
Big old drum.
Yeah.
But otherwise, this is a very favorable schedule with a bunch of teams on there, and they showed the graphic. They should be favored in all of these games. It is there for them now. This was kind of the big hurdle. The fact that they got over it, if they can stay healthy and continue to grow, then sky's the limit, man. I'm super excited.
By the way, speaking of growth, everybody's just hoping for growth. You went through an entire Notre Dame game summary, your emotions, everything, without once mentioning Jared Parker. Look at you, Ty.
Listen, we've all grown a little bit.
New season, new Ty.
We've all grown a little bit in our old age. Yeah. I saw Troy was struggling too, by the way. I haven't seen the final of that game. I'll check it as we're talking here. But
this game was on mute for me. I was watching both the Oregon game, the Michigan game. I had a bunch going at the same time. A&M wise, seemed like tough offensive night. What gives you that hope that A&M will be much better come the end of the season? Is it Elko faith? Is it the better throws that Conner Weigman had? Because he didn't have many good throws.
No.
What is it about? What were the squint seeing kernels from this A&M team that should it? Because A&M fans are bummed right now. Obviously, you want to beat Notre Dame at home to open up with a new coach.
Yeah.
What are those kernels that A&M fans should be hopeful about?
Elko's a much better coach than Jimbo.
Yeah.
He's got a ton of talent on hand still. and they are acclimating to new systems. It is not uncommon for a team. I don't care if you're at home. I don't care if you've got veteran leadership. I don't care what the situation is. But whenever you've got a change of regime like that, there is a feeling out period, and you can only go so far in practice. So it doesn't surprise me that this would be what they looked like against a good team, a good defense. I also think Conner Weigman looked out of sync. Like part of the run up to this game was talking about how, the NFL scouts really like what they see out of Conner Weigman. I like Conner Weigman. You and I were super high on Conner Weigman.
Yeah.
I think we still are, but he's been injured and he needs to come back and get more reps to, I think, get back to a point where you can feel comfortable leaning on him.
I agree.
And it just was not there for them tonight. I think just given the supporting cast around him throughout the course of the year with more reps, they're going to get better. And the defense is still going to keep them in games. This is a good defense that we saw. So I just like Elko's made everybody better. Every place he's been, whether he's a coordinator or a head coach, like he has made everybody better. I think it's a fair assumption to assume it's going to get there again with this team. But, it's a lot to ask against a top 10 team, even if you're at home at night, week one. It's just, it sometimes takes a little bit for everything to click.